Hi everybody, welcome to our workshop here at Capricorn's Cove Creations. This is my first attempt at putting together a video other than some of the poor stuff that I did in the beginning, so hopefully this will be a lot better. We're going to take you through, we've got a batch of soap ready to mix up and pour, and so we're just going to kind of take you through that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and get gloved up. First things first, I apologize if the audio is horrible. I haven't done a sound test in this room yet. I have every reason to believe the audio is pretty bad. So if it is, I apologize. But hopefully it's not too terrible. So here's my workshop. I've got my crock pot here. We've got my proprietary blend of oils that's been warming in the crock pot. It's just about done now. So we can actually turn that off. And our oils are about 105, 115 degrees, which is right about where we want it to be. And then my lye mixture, I mixed that earlier, and that's ready to go in here. And it is 97 degrees, so just about perfect. Right about where I like to be. I like for my oil to be just a little cooler, but it's going to be fine. You're going to see me pour the oil into the lye. Now I know that somebody out there probably has something to say about that, feels some sort of way about it. For me, for my process, I feel like the fewer vessels in my workshop come into contact with lye, the easier the cleanup is going to be. So I like to think that I save myself some steps, and I secure the workshop a little better by not having so many vessels that have got lye in them. So that's what we do there. So again, everything's ready to go. We're going to go ahead and pour my oils into my lye. We like to pour nice and slow so we don't make a lot of air bubbles. Looking good. And then we'll take our immersion blender that I've got set up right here. I'm going to stick it down into the lye, or down into the batter, tip it up so we get the air bubbles out. I'm just going to do a couple of hand stirs to start. And I'm going to go ahead and trigger it. I like to give it 5 or 10 seconds with the power and then stop and do some hand stirs and check what my trace is looking like. You can see in there, no trace yet. I like to stop my immersion blending real early instead of getting to like a real heavy trace. Just as soon as I can see a droplet suspended on the surface for more than a second, that's when I'll stop using the immersion blender and start mixing in my additives. So, and for my process, I just feel like if I go all the way to a real heavy trace or an obvious trace, then by the time I've stirred in my colorants and my additives and everything, that I'm way past and it just doesn't pour nice. Alright, so a few more immersions. And then we'll check how we're looking. Not quite there yet. Let's see that in there. We'll use high speed next. Just about. so you can see. I'm just going to pick the camera up here real quick and show you. Throw that around a little bit. You can just barely see that color change while it seeps into the rest of it. A lot of people wait till you get like a real heavy trail on that. I don't like to wait quite that long because, again, like I say, I feel like it makes it harder to get my additives and colorant in there before it's way too thick. So take my immersion blender apart, set this off to the side. Go throw this in the basin. I'll be right back. Okay, so here I have my colorant, yellow gold mica, and that's cut with the fragrance oil and just a little bit of coconut oil to help it disperse. I mixed this ahead of time. You can see it's a beautiful color. We're kind of going for a sunflower yellow. This is a custom order that we're doing for a friend of ours. She's got sunflowers in her bathroom, so I'm trying to kind of match that. So we're just going to pour this in. Try and get as much of that as we can because the fragrance oil and the mica is pound for pound not cheap. So get our spatula for mixing. Got that colorant good and mixed in. The next thing I'm adding is some honey. Now, I've never done honey in a recipe before. That was part of the custom order. So we're in uncharted territory for me. I've got this honey cut with just a little bit of coconut oil again so that it will disperse, and then I warmed it up because honey obviously is very sticky. So I got it warmed up so it'll spread throughout the mixture real nice. We're going to go ahead and pour that in. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we are going to do the poppy seeds first because that honey is warm. It's going to accelerate trace because it's going to bring heat to the chemical reaction. So I've got poppy seeds here, 40 grams of poppy seeds. This is my exfoliant. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in first and save the honey for last because, again, it's going to accelerate trace when I pour it in there because it's warm. You put the poppy seeds in there as an exfoliant. They're just real nice for scrubbing your skin with. I think they look beautiful in the soap too. We've experimented with a lot of different exfoliants, and this one is probably my favorite. The oatmeal is a close second, depending on the day. Of course, I mean the natural loaf is the bomb diggity, but those oils require special handling. Okay, so you can see I've got my poppy seeds nice and dispersed throughout the soap batter. Getting a real nice trace in there. Let's pick up the camera and show you. See that trace as it comes up and just draws lines on the front top there. Okay, I'm going to get my mold ready to go. Now we're going to go ahead and pour in the honey. Here we go. Smells good. Our fragrance is eucalyptus for this. The eucalyptus and the honey is a interesting combination. Sweet, effervescent. I just want to make sure we get that honey all mixed throughout, because I don't want any chunks of it cooling off in there or anything. Our temperature right now is, we're at 108 degrees. It's just about perfect. It's really very good. Good trace to it. Okay, let's go ahead and pour. See that okay? Yeah. This recipe comes out to about 1,100 grams total. I use a 1 to 2.5 ratio with my lye to water, so there's 2.5 times as much water as lye in this recipe. Some people like 2 to 1, some people like 3 to 1, all depending on your process. The more water you add to the lye, the longer it'll take you to get to trace, and especially depending on, you know, at a given temperature, because heat is really what, if you mix too hot, you'll get to trace instantly. So I've done that before. But yeah, the more water you have in your lye, the longer it'll take you to get to trace, and then also the longer the soap takes to cure. We let all of our soap cure at least 4 weeks before we sell it. That seems to work for us. Of course, it gets better the longer you let it age. So, and then I'm just going to scrape every last bit of this that I can get out of it, because I don't like to waste this liquid gold soap batter here. If you wait a little longer before you pour and your batter is thicker, then you can start to make little swirly designs on the top, that sort of thing. This is still pretty fluid, so it's relaxing down to a level pretty well. We could let it sit for a minute and do some swirlies on the top or something if we wanted to. I'm still learning how to be good at that and learning to like it, because I just like I'm with soap like I am with cars. I just like a real clean look that doesn't have a lot of, I mean, the rustic stuff is fun, but it's just not my style, if that makes sense. I appreciate it, but it's just not my cup of tea. But other people really enjoy it, so maybe we'll let this sit for a minute and see if we can get some swirls in there. Okay, we've let this bar sit for about half an hour to let it thicken up a little bit so we can get some designs on it. I did switch out to some lighter weight gloves. Yes, they're pink. Pink is cheaper than black. Just trying to save cost. Don't at me, because I am very secure in my masculinity and you're not going to bother me. So we're going to go ahead and get some peaks going in here. And I'm just gonna, this is a barbecue skewer, like you'd skewer some shrimp or whatever on. And I'm just gonna pop it in here and pull some peaks up. All right. Well, we'll see how that looks in the morning. So we're going to go ahead and cap that. Set the soap down in our cabinet. And then we'll come back in the morning and cut. So here we are the next day. We're going to go ahead and unmold our soap, take it over to the cutter. Oh, we've got one other bar in there that's waiting. So here we go. Try and get it where we had it yesterday. There's probably a better way to do this than I do it, I don't know. But just kind of have to peel it out of there. Sometimes we lose a little corner. There we go. There's our loaf of bergamot eucalyptus with honey and poppy seed. First, we're going to adjust our measurement. Would you care to hold the camera for me while I stamp these bars?
Very nice.
If you guys haven't seen yet, this is my stamp hammer. Began life as a meat tenderizer. We had our friends over at Utah Laser Engraving in Riverdale make this for us. So I just gave them the file for our logo, and they engraved it onto the head of this thing. Pretty cool, right? It's funny, the guy had to buy a new one when I went in there to pick it up. It had taken a little bit longer than we thought it would. And he told me that when they first printed it, he got it all engraved and done and everything, and then realized that it needed to be mirrored. So
it was inside instead of outside?
Yeah, it was like, so when you stamped it, it was like backwards.
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
Normally they engrave things like guns. So this is a new kind of project for them, but they were real good natured about it and took it on without any complaint. So it was pretty cool. All right. Well, there we go. That bar is all cut. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Come see us at our farmers markets and stuff. Bye.